Dear students, welcome to the lecture series on the topic Engineering Graphics. Today we are going to discuss about development of surfaces of solids. I am Dr. IPS Ahuja, Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Punjabi University, Patiala. Now here we have been provided with a pentagonal pyramid having base edge 30 millimeter and axis height 60 millimeter. So this pentagonal pyramid, it is kept onto the ground on its base with one of its base edges perpendicular to the vertical plane. So we can check into this orientation. None of the edges of the pentagonal base, it will be perpendicular to the vertical plane. So this happens to be an incorrect orientation of the pentagonal pyramid with respect to the two reference planes. Whereas if we place the pentagonal pyramid onto the horizontal plane into this orientation, then one of the edges of the base happens to be perpendicular to the vertical plane. So this is the correct orientation of the pentagonal pyramid with respect to the two reference planes over here. So now we have been provided with the information that a thread is wound around the pyramid in such a way that it starts from one corner of the base and it comes back to the same corner after completing one revolution over here. So we can start the movement of this thread in this direction such that the starting point and the end point of the thread should be the same. But one thing we have to make sure that the minimum length of the thread we are required to use in order to complete one revolution, because the easiest way would have been moving along the base over here, but it would have required longer dimension of the thread. So what we have to do now, a point we are going to move in such a way that it should complete one revolution and it should end up at the same point after completion of one revolution. So this thread should be wound around the lateral surface of this particular pentagonal pyramid over here. So here we are required to develop the lateral surface of the pyramid and evaluate the minimum length of the thread onto the developed surface and then project all the points of intersection of this thread with the different slant edges of this particular pentagonal pyramid, and this thread we have to represent into the front view projections and into the top view projections as well. So this way we are required to evaluate, to begin with, orthographic projections of this pentagonal pyramid. So we know, as we are going to look at this pentagonal pyramid from the top, so we are going to obtain the pentagonal projections onto the horizontal plane into the top view projections over here. So we know the edge length. Edge length of this pentagonal pyramid happens to be 30 millimeter. Now we have to draw the pentagonal projections onto the horizontal plane in such a way that one of the edges of the base should be perpendicular to the vertical plane. Now we are going to mark A, B, C, D and E points corresponding to the base of this pentagonal pyramid. Now, in order to draw the front view projections, we need to evaluate the access point corresponding to this pyramid. So now, in order to evaluate center of symmetry or the access point corresponding to this pentagonal pyramid, we need to draw perpendicular bisectors from all of the 5 corner points of this pentagonal base onto the opposite edges over here. So we can check from point D, we have drawn perpendicular bisector of AB. From point E, we have drawn perpendicular bisector of CB. From point A, we have drawn perpendicular bisector of CD. From point B, we have drawn perpendicular bisector of DE over here. And from point C, we have drawn perpendicular bisector of the edge AE over here. Wherever these 5 perpendicular bisectors from each one of the corners of this pentagonal base, they are going to intersect with each other. We obtain the access points O and O1 over here. So O point of the axis will be available with us at the apex point, whereas O1 axis point, it will be lying onto the base of the pentagonal pyramid over here. Now having obtained the axis points, now we know that as the observer is going to look at this pentagonal pyramid from the top, so all the slant generators OA, OB, OC, OD and OE, they will be visible to the observer from the top. Now having obtained the top view projections of this pentagonal pyramid, let us evaluate the front view projections of the pentagonal pyramid. So we know that axis point we have located. Now we have projected the axis projection into the elevation projection view. And now we know that the axis height happens to be 60 millimeter. So now once we mark this axis height is equal to 60 millimeter, so the apex point O dash we have evaluated over here. And besides this, B point and A point of the base, they have been projected onto the XY reference line as B dash A dash. Points C and D of the base of the pentagonal pyramid, they have been projected onto the XY reference line as point C dash and E dash. Point D of the base has been projected onto the XY reference line as point D dash over here. And the axis point O1 dash has been appropriately located onto the XY reference line on the axis over here. So now having obtained the apex point, now we can join this apex point with all the 5 corners of the base over here. So now we can check this slant edge OA happens to lie on the rear side of the solid. It is not visible to the observer. So the front view projections corresponding to O dash A dash should have been drawn as a dotted line. But this slant edge OA has been overlapped by another slant edge OB, which happens to lie on the front side of this pentagonal pyramid over here. So the object line projections corresponding to OB, that is O dash B dash, they are going to coincide with or supersede the dotted line projections corresponding to the slant edge O dash A dash over here into the front view projection. Similarly, the slant edge OE, again it is lying at the back side or the rear side of the solid and it is not visible to the observer. So we should be obtaining dotted line projections corresponding to the slant edge O dash E dash into the elevation projection view. But this slant edge OE has been overlapped by the slant edge OC, because this slant edge OC happens to lie onto the front side of the solid. So because of this overlap of the edge OE by the edge OC over here, so the object line projections corresponding to the edge O dash C dash, they are going to cover or supersede the dotted line projections corresponding to the slant edge O dash E dash over here. So that is why we are not able to observe hidden line projections corresponding to slant edges O dash A dash and O dash E dash into the elevation projection view. Now we have obtained the front view orthographic projections and the top view orthographic projections of this pentagonal pyramid. Now we know that since this slant edge OD, it happens to be parallel to the vertical plane, so in the front view projections, the slant edge projections O dash D dash will represent the true length projections over here. So here this projection O dash D dash happens to be true length, whereas O dash A dash, O dash B dash, O dash C dash and O dash E dash. So these 4 slant edges, they represent the apparent length projections corresponding to the slant edges OB, OA, OC and OE over here. So now we know the true length of the slant edge. So it will be equal to O dash D dash. So let us obtain the development of lateral surface of the pentagonal pyramid over here. So we know the radius. So radius has to be taken as O dash D dash over here. So once we take O dash D dash as the radius, now through point O, we are going to draw an arc having radius is equal to O dash D dash, which happens to be the true length of the slant edge corresponding to this pentagonal pyramid over here. So now we know that edges of the base, it happens to be 30 millimeter. So now 5 arcs we need to draw at a radius of 30 millimeter each. And now we can join the base points over here, A and B, B and C, C and D, D and D, and E and A. So 5 base edges we have been able to obtain. So 5 isosceles triangles we have obtained into the developed surface view corresponding to this pentagonal pyramid lateral surface development over here. So now we need to obtain the shortest distance between the different points which are lying onto the thread, which is going to start from point A. Please check. This is going to start from point A, and we should be winding up this thread around the lateral surface of this pentagonal pyramid in such a way that the distance covered by this thread, it should work out to be the minimum distance. So how we can obtain this length of the thread? In the developed surface view, we can join this point A with this point A over here, because we know that shortest distance between 2 points, it happens to be the straight line. Had we chosen this path alongside the base, then it would have meant that a larger distance has to be traversed by this thread over here. We can check. This distance would have been much larger over here. So if we are trying to find some shortcut over here, the distance is decreasing, but still it is more than the minimum distance. So even if we move this way, this distance would be on the higher side. So the minimum distance would be this distance. So now alongside this thread, which we have obtained alongside a straight line, which is going to be obtained by joining the initial starting point A and the end point A of the development over here. So now the intermediate points of intersection we need to evaluate over here. So these are the intermediate points of intersection, and these are the starting and the end points of the thread over here. So this thread length we need to measure, and once we measure this thread length, now its projections into the front view, its projections into the top view, they need to be obtained over here. So now we know that there are different points of intersection. Let us assume that this is a cutting plane or it is a thread over here. So wherever this thread is going to meet different slant edges of this particular pentagonal pyramid, so those points we have to mark in the elevation projection view and in the top view projection view over here. So let us mark all of these points into the development surface view over here. The first point of intersection happens to be lying onto the point A. Now this point of intersection, it is basically lying onto the first slant edge OA. So we have labeled this point as 11,1. Second point of intersection of this thread with the second slant edge OB. So this happens to be 12,1. Third point of intersection of this thread or the cutting plane with the slant edge OC happens to be 13,1. The fourth point of intersection is 14. There is no suffix besides 14. Why? Because 14 point will lie on O dash D dash, and it is itself a true length. It is not an apparent length. Whereas all the 4 remaining slant edges, they are the apparent lengths. So in order to obtain the development, projections of points of intersection from the apparent lengths, they need to be extended onto the true length over here. So that is why 11,1, 12,1, 13,1, 15,1 points, they are obtained over here. Similarly, point 15,1, it is the point of intersection of the thread with the slant generator OE over here. So let us now back project all of these 5 points into the elevation projection view and into the plan projection view over here. So now we have observed that point 11,1, it happens to lie on the extreme point alongside the slant edge OA over here. So if I have to back project this particular point 11,1, so alongside the true length, please check, this is the true length. So all points will be projected onto the true length over here. So point 11, 1 will be projected at the base alongside the point D dash over here. Why? Because this radius OA and O11 happens to be equal to O dash D dash over here. 11, 1 dash means that it is the true length corresponding to the radius O11. The point 11 dash will lie onto the slant edge O dash A dash over here. So from point 11, 1 dash, we'll draw a horizontal projector line till it intersects with the apparent length of the slant edge O dash A dash over here. So the first point of intersection of the thread with the slant generator OA has been obtained into the elevation projection view. So this point is apparent length point, that is corresponding to the apparent length O dash A dash over here. So this was the true length projection which we had obtained by transferring this point 11 to 11, 1 dash over here. So now while backtracking, 11, 1 dash was obtained first, then it was translated into the apparent length radius over here. So once point 11 dash is obtained, now we have observed that A dash and 11 dash, they have coincided with each other. Now from point 11 dash, if we draw a perpendicular projector into the top view projections, wherever this vertical projector from 11 dash, it is going to intersect with the slant generator top view apparent length over here. This happens to be OA. So it will be intersecting with slant generator OA at point 11 over here. So the starting point 11 of the thread has been obtained over here. Now the second point of intersection of the thread with the second slant generator true length. This is the true length of the second slant generator OB. It happens to be 12, 1. So now what we have to do, this distance O12, 1, this distance O12, 1 we are going to measure. We will be projecting this distance back onto OA true length over here. So once we transfer this distance onto OA true length, now this radius we are going to measure. This will be corresponding to the point 12, 1 because this is an isosceles triangle over here. So O12, 1 onto OB, it is equal to O12, 1 onto OA. So same distance we have to mark alongside O dash D dash over here. So this distance O dash 12, 1 dash distance we have marked onto the slant edge true length O dash D dash over here. So now true length corresponding to the point 12 dash has been obtained over here. So now we have to backtrack this from this point on the true length. Now we are going to draw a horizontal projector line in the backward direction till this point 12, 1 dash, which is corresponding to the true length radius. It will be converted into the apparent length radius onto the apparent length of the slant edge O dash B dash over here. So we can check. This is O dash B dash apparent length slant generator. So the point of intersection with the cutting plane or the thread will be 12 dash. So this radius will be the apparent length radius. This apparent length point 12 dash has been obtained onto O dash B dash apparent length slant edge in the front view projection. So now let us obtain this point 12 in the top view projection. So 12 dash point happens to lie onto the slant edge O dash B dash over here. So now once we bring a projector down from point 12 dash onto the top view projection corresponding to the slant length OB over here. So this point of intersection will provide us with the location of the point 12 into the top view projections over here. Now the next point which we have got by virtue of intersection of the thread with the true length of the slant generator OC over here. So this happens to be 13, 1. So now we'll mark this distance 13, 1. Transfer it over here onto OA so that once again we can check this is an isosceles triangle over here. This distance is equal to this distance. that is point 13.1 has been transferred onto the starting true length over here. And now we'll measure this distance O13.1, transfer this distance onto the true length of the slant edge O dash D dash over here. So the point 13.1 dash has been obtained onto the true length of the slant generator O dash D dash over here. So once again, this is true length of the radius. We need to backtrack it onto the apparent length. Which is the apparent length? O dash C dash. It means that O dash C dash apparent length of the slant edge has been intersected by the thread or the cutting plane at the point 13 dash over here. So this distance was apparent length radius. We had converted it to the true length radius and it was projected over here. So now we are moving back. So this is available. We have transferred it over here, and then horizontally if we take it back, now the apparent length radius or the point of intersection has been obtained into the elevation projection view corresponding to the point 13 dash, which happens to lie onto the apparent length of the slant generator O dash C dash over here. So let us transfer this point 13 dash into the top view projection. So if we draw a vertical projector from point 13 dash into the plan projection view, so wherever this vertical projector will be intersecting with apparent length corresponding to the slant edge OC over here into the top view projections, so this point of intersection will provide us with the location of the point 13 in the plan projection view over here. Next point of intersection, it is point 14 lying onto the slant edge true length OD over here. So we know this distance O14. So let us again transfer it onto OA. So again we get an isosceles triangle over here. This triangle happens to be isosceles triangle. So this distance will be O14. This point will be obtained as 14. So O14 distance we will be measuring over here. Now transfer O14 distance over here. So the moment we transfer this point 14 dash over here, so now we can check there is no suffix 1. Why? Because point 14 dash happens to lie onto the true length O dash D dash over here. So this radius is automatically a true length radius. So now from point 14 dash, we bring a projector downwards, so that this vertical projector drawn from the point 14 dash should be intersecting with slant edge apparent length projection OD over here. So this intersection of OD and vertical projector through point 14 dash will provide us with the location of the point 14 in the top view projections over here. And the last point available over here, it is point 15.1. So we know the location of the point 15.1 alongside the true length of the slant edge OE into the development surface view. So now we will be measuring this radius O15.1, which is the true length of this radius, and again translate it onto OA over here. So the point 15.1 has been obtained over here. This triangle is again an isosceles triangle. This is again an isosceles triangle. Now this distance O15.1 we are going to measure plotted from the point O dash onto the true length of the slant generator O dash D dash over here. So the true length or radius corresponding to the point 15 dash has been obtained as 15.1 dash. Now from 15.1 dash, again a horizontal projector will be drawn backward so that we are able to obtain point 15 dash as point of intersection of this thread with the apparent length of the slant generator O dash E dash over here. So O dash E dash has been intersected by the thread at the point 15 dash. So if we draw a horizontal projector line from point 15.1 dash, so the point of intersection with the slant generator apparent length O dash E dash will be obtained as 15 dash over here. So now from point 15 dash lying onto the slant edge O dash E dash over here if we draw a vertical projector line onto the apparent length of the top view projection corresponding to the same edge OE over here. So the point 15 will be obtained into the top view projection. So 5 points of intersection we have obtained into the front view projections: 11 dash, 12 dash, 13 dash, 14 dash and 15 dash. Similarly, 5 points of intersection: 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. So 5 points they have been appropriately obtained in the elevation and into the plan projection view. So let us join all of these points of intersection. So 11 and 12 has been joined, 12 and 13 has been joined, 13 and 14 has been joined, 14 and 15 and 15 and 16 points they have been joined. So we can see the thread will be wound in this fashion about the lateral surface of this pentagonal pyramid, so that the starting point and the end point will be the same, and minimum length of the thread will be required to complete one revolution alongside the lateral surface of this pentagonal pyramid. Now let us evaluate the joining of all of these 5 points into the front elevation view. So 11 dash and 12 dash can be joined. They are falling onto the boundary, and object line has been used to join these 2 points. 12 dash and 13 dash has been joined using object line. Why? Because this is visible. This portion of the thread is visible to the observer, as the observer is going to look at this pyramid from this side. This edge is also visible, 13, 14 in the front view projection. So 13 dash and 14 dash can be joined with a straight line. But 14, 15 and 15, 11, these two portions of the thread, they are going to lie onto the rear side. So this portion of the thread 14, 15 and 15, 11 will not be visible to the observer. So 14 dash to 15 dash, again a dotted line will be used, and 15 dash to 11 dash. So this portion of the thread will be joined using hidden line projections over here. So 11 dash, 12 dash solid line, 12 dash, 13 dash solid line, 13 dash, 14 dash object line, 14 dash, 15 dash hidden, and 15 dash, 11 dash hidden line. So this way we have been able to evaluate the orientation and the movement of the thread alongside the top view projections, alongside the front view projections over here, and into the lateral surface which have been developed over here. We can observe these 2 points, they can be joined by using a straight line thread over here. So this is all for today. So I hope that through this discussion you would have understood about the procedure to evaluate the minimum length of the thread when the starting point and the end point of the movement of this thread will be the same, and the thread has to cover one revolution of this pentagonal pyramid in such a way that the minimum distance should be traversed by this thread while covering one revolution alongside the lateral surface of this particular pentagonal pyramid over here. So this is all for today. So we are going to continue with further discussion regarding few more illustrative cases of development of surfaces of the solids in the coming lectures. So thank you very much. Thanks a lot.